in order to win 7 games, you better win the first game. In order to win the first game, you have to put your A game on the field, and you got to win that first pitch, and then you got to win the second pitch, and then you got to win the first inning, and then you got to win the second inning, and you really can't do anything about the 9th inning until you win the first few innings. So you know, that part of the game has never changed, and these players understand that. But we certainly know how important these games are, and you know, hopefully we're going to come out on top and more of them than not.
With that in mind of how important.
That's Reds manager Bob Boone, and he hit the nail on the head. The Reds won the 2nd inning, scoring all 5 of their runs. Won the 9th inning as Danny Graves got help with a brilliant defensive play. And Cincinnati has taken the first of 2, a 5-4 win over the Cincinnati Reds. The Cardinals over the St. Louis Cardinals as the Reds win at the final 5-4. And we're ready for game 2, the Reds against the Cardinals. Hi, hello, and welcome back to Cincinnati, everybody. Along with the crafty left-hander Chris Welch, I'm George Grant. Good news for the Reds. They win game 1 5-4, move back to within 6.5 games of St. Louis in the Central. Bad news is, though, on the disabled list is Austin Kearns with a pulled hamstring, and as Dr. Timothy Kremchek told us, it was not a slight pull. It was a pretty serious pull.
Yeah, they wasted no time at all making that move to put him on the disabled list, George. So you knew right away it was it's going to be a discouraging word for the Reds, and a very discouraging word for Austin Kearns, who was in the midst of having a tremendous rookie season. Don't know when he's going to be back or how he's going to be back, but certainly the Reds are going to have to pull themselves up and recover from that setback and play the kind of baseball they did in the first game to take the sweep. I mean, if you're going to try to claw your way back into this thing, Bob Boone's exactly right. 1 pitch at a time, 1 game at a time.
Well, the good news is the Reds do get a familiar face back. Let's take a look at our G pitching matchup. Elmer descends back off the disabled list. He'll get the start, Chris.
Well, boy, the Reds have really missed this guy. Who would ever thought a few years ago that the Reds would have said, hey, our pitching staff's gone nowhere because Elmer's on the DL? Well, guess what? Elmer descends is 3rd in the National League in earned run average behind Randy Johnson and Tom Glavine. He's had a tremendous year from that perspective. The Reds need to score him a little bit of runs out there in support because they've got a very tough lefty on the mound that he faces today in Chuck Finley, a veteran that the Cardinals acquired, and this guy's on top of his game.
Chuck Finley against Elmer Descends. The Reds against the St. Louis Cardinals are ready for game 2. Cincinnati trying for their first doubleheader sweep of St. Louis since 1996. That when we return after these messages. Baseball on Fox Sports Net is being brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. The best part is our people. By Biggs, the home of the true minimum price. By your local Chrysler and Jeep dealers. By Provident Bank, your place for winning advice. By the Ohio Lottery. Play Super Lotto Plus from the Ohio Lottery. Odds are you'll have some fun. By your local Dodge dealer. Grab life by the horns. And by Skyline Chili. Game time or anytime when you're feeling good and hungry. It's Skyline time. Skyline Chili, the official chili of the Cincinnati Reds. Welcome back to Synergy Field, everybody. Ready to play some baseball. Here's Elmer Descends. Good to see number 45 back on the mound for Cincinnati. As we begin game 2 of this doubleheader, Fernando Vina 1 for 5 in the first game will lead it off. Vina steps in at 270, a homer, 46 knocked in, and 15 stolen bases. Reds want to keep him off the base pass. In the first game, he led off with a base hit, but was doubled off on a line drive, caught in right field by Austin Kearns. That was the first of 5 double plays on the night for the Reds. 3 of them hit into by Scott Rowland. That's a line drive into center field, and once again Vina starts it with a base hit. Here's our Chevrolet starting lineup for Tony La Russa and the Cardinals. Vina leads it off. Renteria back at shortstop. He'll hit in the number 2 spot. Edmonds hits third. Pujols and Rowland went back-to-back with homers in the first game. They're back-to-back in the 4th and 5th spot again. Tino Martinez, Kerry Robinson will get the start. Robinson in right. Matheny the catcher. Finley, Chuck Finley the pitcher. That's 1 through 9, your Chevrolet starting lineup. And Elmer will work from the stretch with Vina on. Good to have Elmer Descends back, Chris.
Certainly is a guy that is sorely missing that rotation. He's a guy that has quietly assumed the number 1 spot in the rotation, the stopper, if you might. And if you don't know the scouting report on Elmer Descends, here it is. He is fresh off the DL. It's been a while. You wonder if command is going to be a problem for him tonight, not only with his fastball, but his breaking ball as well. But when he's going right, he's got a good sneaky fastball that he throws to both sides of the plate. And he's developed the knack over the last couple of years of changing speeds on all of his pitches. He is just a well-rounded, solid major league pitcher out there having a tremendous year.
There's Renteria, 5 sacrifices on the year. Showed bunt the first time. Here's the 1-strike delivery from Elmer. In tied at third is Boone. Slash to right, curving. It's a fair ball, fair ball. Vigna rounds second, heads to third. It's touched by a fan, so it'll be second and third for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Well, the way the Reds were getting the breaks in the second inning of the first game, this is the thing that's going so far for the Cardinals. Right down the line, almost kicks up the chalk as that ball kicks into the stands. That's a break for the Reds, as Vigna probably would have scored had that ball gotten away and gone down into the corner. So first two Cardinals have reached, and Elmer descends right off the DL, finds himself into a crucial situation early.
Edgar Renteria picks up his 29th double of the year, and here comes Jim Edmonds. First game of the doubleheader. Edmonds had 2 hits on the night. 2 for 5 for Edmonds, a single to center and a single to second. Reds will keep the infield at normal depth, with the exception of third, where Boone is in even with the grass. Swung a little bit towards second, but not a complete overshift against Edmonds. Edmonds enters the game at .310 with 24 homers and 69 knocked in. A strike on the inside corner. Your home plate umpire, who's not part of the original crew this evening, is Andy Fletcher. Fletcher behind home plate. Darrell Cousins, the crew chief, is over at first. Marty Foster at second, and Rob Drake is over at third. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Edmonds twisted his left knee, exiting the batter's box in his 3rd at bat of the first game, but he's back in there for game 2. Vigna off third, Renteria off second. Way high, 2-2. You go up and down the Cardinals lineup, and there are a host of guys who can shoulder the load. This guy, one of them. Balls, 2 strikes to the center fielder. Wide, and will go full 3-2. In his career, Elmer 4-2 against the Cardinals. At Houston tonight, the Astros lead San Diego 3-1. They're in the second. Astros looking for the Reds from help. Reds just trying to win. Slap foul, and we'll go again 3-2. With the loss by St. Louis, at this moment Houston is 2.5 back. The Reds are 6.5 back in the Central. Trying to do something they haven't done since 1996, September of '96. That sweep a doubleheader from St. Louis.
Well, Jim Edmonds hanging in there tough against every offering from Elmer Descends, fastballs and breaking balls alike. He seems to be zoned in pretty good. When you have a fastball like Descends, you can sometimes climb the ladder on Jim Edmonds, but boy, you make a mistake and he can hit the ball a long way to just about every part of the ballpark. At this point, Elmer looking for a punch out. Edmonds looking for a way to drive at least 1 run in.
Vigna, Renteria lead off, still no one out. Got it where he wanted it, too far inside, says home plate umpire Andy Fletcher. The bases are loaded.
Watch Jason Leroux at the very end of this. Just a little bit of a frame. As you see, he brings it back. That shows you that he knows it's not a strike, but he's going to try to buy it for the umpire and get a strike in there. Very difficult to do on an inside pitch because that's where the umpire sits, right over the inside part of the plate, and he's got the best view there is in seeing that ball, whether it cuts the corner or not.
So Elmer in a peck of trouble here in the first inning. A single, a double, a walk, and the big guys are coming to the plate. Pujols homered in the first game for Albert, his 30th homer, now 100 runs knocked in.
This guy has such a sweet swing. I mean, he just lays it out there, line drive. This ball bouncing off the stadium in a long way. I'll tell you, I don't know how they gauge how far that ball is still going because it looked like it was still going up. Tremendous power, good swing, just a terrific hitter.
Nice block by LaRue. Vigna will hold at third. A ball and a strike. LaRue gets a start in game 2 after Kelly Stinnett started game 1. A couple of years ago, everyone was labeling Jim Edmonds as a real candidate for MVP. And with those numbers that you see on that board, if the Cardinals were to win in the Central, you'd put Pujols on the MVP list too. Only in his second year, he's had 2 monster seasons. Here's the 1-1. Pretty lively arm. Not bad numbers with the bases jammed, huh?
Well, it's amazing what hitters can do when they know they're going to get pitched to. Albert Pujols in his young career is one of those guys that immediately has had such an impact that pitchers pitch around him. They'd rather pitch to the guy behind him.
1-2. Going inside, that's where LaRue wants it. Popped him up, but it's out of play.
Good pitch right there, and I know that this isn't exactly the way that Elmer DeScens wanted to start this ball game, with extending himself on a lot of pitches, being in a clutch situation early on, but you know, might do to kind of get him loose and kind of get him into the rhythm of things early. Needs still to make a big pitch here.
Tough guy for Elmer to battle here. Line drive right through the middle. 1 run scores. Here comes Renteria. He'll score. Griffey's throw will go to third. Edmonds will hold at second. So Pujols delivers once again. That's now 102 runs batted in for the big left fielder. Cardinals off to an early 2-0 lead. Nice job of hitting.
Yeah, great plate coverage right there. He spoiled a couple of tremendous pitches by DeScens. Finally got a fastball down and away. It wasn't far enough down. Certainly wasn't away enough. I guess it was away, but simply not down. And you can't make that kind of mistake to a very hot-hitting Albert Pujols.
That's a cap rattler right back through the middle. DeScens hit the turf over his head. Line drive. Renteria scores. So does Vigna. 2-0 St. Louis. Still no one out. And here's Scott Rowland. Good news for Rowland first game. He hit his 20th homer of the year. Bad news is he bounced into 3 double plays, all started by Aaron Boone. He also committed an error, and that error helped the Reds in a second inning when they scored 5 runs. Overall, 266, 20 homers, and 85 knocked in. As a Cardinal, 293, 3 homers, and 19 knocked in. Two on, no outs. Fluke towards right. Casey giving chase. Foul territory. Runs out of room. Here's a look at home run number 20 for Scott Rowland.
He got a bunch of it. Scott Rowland did. That was right after the home run by Albert Pujols. Back-to-back jobs to start the inning. And that was the beginning of the end for Brian Moeller.
Moeller went 2 1/3, allowed 6 hits and 3 runs. Chris Rietzma came in, went 3 2/3, 4 hits and a run. Danny Graves wound up picking up his 30th save with an inning of 2-hit baseball, aided by the double play in the 9th off Rowland's bat. 1-1 to Rowland. Ripped to left, a bullet. Dunn will just turn around and watch it bounce off the cement. So Rolen makes good this time around. His second homer of the night, a 3-run shot. And the Cardinals have an early 5-0 lead.
And that was something that he had going for him all year long. Really too bad for Descends because he gets the ball up here to Rolen, and Rolen's the kind of guy that makes you pay. 5 runs in the inning. The Reds are still looking for the first out, and that 2.6 earned run average of Elmer Descends is going to take a serious hit tonight.
Home run number 21 for Rolen, his 4th as a Cardinal. And here's Tino. Tino steps in, 265, 15 homers, 61 knocked in. First game, 1 for 3 and a walk. Casey has this one. Elmer's over. They'll get an out finally. So 1 away. This gives us a chance to check your 4 defensive alignment for Cincinnati. Casey and Castro right side. Larkin and Boone on the left side. Larkin, a brilliant defensive play in game number 1. Boone starting 3 double plays. Dunn, Griffey, Mateo in the outfield if you just joined us. Austin Kearns not in the lineup. Ruben Mateo is. Austin pulled his left hamstring trying to beat out an infield hit in game 1 of the doubleheader. Placed on the disabled list by the Reds and placed on crutches too. Dr. Timothy Kremchek saying that this was on the scale of pulled hamstrings, one of the more severe ones that the Reds have had this year. So they'll watch him very closely, but very clearly it's not going to be a 2 or 3 day stint. It'll be an extended period of time, at least the 15 days that the disabled list would encompass.
Well, the Reds ought to know Dr. Kremchek for certain because they have had their share of hamstring injuries over the last couple of years. I think Dr. Kremchek has learned more about hamstring injuries than he cares to know. And with the experience that Ken Griffey Jr. has gone through, I guess that will be helpful to the recovery of Austin Kearns. That, and of course, youth is on his side as well.
That's a strike to Mike Matheny. Matheny, the catcher. Sat in game 1, here starting game 2 in the 234, 3 homers and 27 knocked in. Always the danger, Chris, of a prolonged stint on the disabled list, coming back, go to an injury rehab, pitch a couple of games, then come back. The Reds obviously need Elmer Descends, so no injury rehab, just comes out and fires at the major league level, but there's no margin for error here.
You know, sometimes you think that it's easier to pitch in the major leagues than it really is. Even if you're a major league coach or manager, you look at your #1 guy and say, hey, he's been on such a roll, he doesn't need it. It wasn't an arm injury that sidelined, it was a leg injury, and he's been able to throw and kind of do his side work. But boy, that margin of error from just hitting the corner and then getting it up around the waist, it can mean the difference between no runs in the first inning and 5 runs in the first inning.
And you saw in the home run by Rolen where LaRue was set up. He was set up in, and that one drifted out over the plate. Well, in game 1 of the doubleheader, it was the Cardinals starter, Jason Simon-Tachi, who tossed over 30 pitches in the second inning. Here in the first inning, Chris, that's been a similar story for Elmer Descends. 30 pitches already.
Yeah, well, you know, it's something that you want to stay away from, but what choice do you have? He's a battler, Descends is, and he's just going to keep out there trying to make the best pitches he can, get out of the inning, and maybe the Reds can score some runs.
Native of Hermosillo, Mexico, delivering to his counterpart for the Cardinals, Chuck Finley. Finley, 143, 2 for 14 since coming over. A run batted in, 3 sacrifices. Finley, his first 2 major league hits. Got him, but the damage done. 9 come to the plate here in the first inning. The first 5 reach base safely. Topped off by the rolling 3-run homer. St. Louis leads at 5-0. Time for your Chevrolet starting lineup for Bob Boone and the Cincinnati Reds. Barry Larkin will lead it off in game 2. Adam Dunn moves up to the number 2 spot. Aaron Boone hits third. Ken Griffey Jr. in the cleanup spot. Ruben Mateo in for Kearns. Kearns out with a pulled hamstring. Casey LaRue. Castro starts at second, and Elmer DeCenz will hit ninth. That's your Chevrolet starting lineup. And here's the veteran left-hander over from Cleveland.
He had 18 starts with the Cleveland Indians, did Chuck Finley. He only won 4 of those games. And here's the scatter report on the big, tall, 6'6" left-hander. He uses that height to his advantage. A nice downward plane. Everything that he throws seems to sink. He likes his splitter, and he likes his slider, and he's very deliberate to the plate. So if the Reds can come a little bit closer and they get the running game back into their game plan, that high leg kick of Finley may be a factor. In the meantime, look for splitters, sliders, and sinking fastballs.
And very clearly, Chris, the Reds would love to have Austin Kearns in this lineup against this left-hander. Bob Boone was looking for any right-hander he could find before the doubleheader started to face Finley, but now with Kearns out, Mateo gets the start in left, and he'll be in the lineup today. Here's Larkin to lead it off. Bob Boone has split up his left-handers in this game. Dunn hits second, Griffey fourth, Casey sixth. Strike, and that's where he'll throw that delivery, both the split finger and the slider down and in. He'll keep it down, and the first time you see him, uncomfortable for left-handers and difficult for right-handers too. Fifth among all active pitchers tonight with 197 victories. Fourth with over 2,500 career strikeouts. Down to third, Roland has it. Larkin's retired, 1 away. Here's your St. Louis defense. The Cardinals come in 8th in the league in defense, with Finley on the mound and Matheny catching. Left side, Roland Renteria. Right side, Vina Martinez. That's about the best defense in the National League right now in the infield that you'll find. Pujols, Edmonds, Robinson in the outfield. That's your 4 defensive alignment for the St. Louis Cardinals. Here's Adam Dunn. Zippity-doo, strike 1. Dunn, first game of the doubleheader, had a double and scored in the second, a single and stolen a base, but was left stranded in the 7th. 2 for 4 for Adam Dunn in game 1. The average at 269, 25 homers and 68 knocked in. Hit pretty good towards the corner. If it's fair, it's trouble. It's curving. It'll be foul by about 3 or 4 feet, no more than that. He just about snuck that in. And he didn't even hit it good, Chris.
It didn't sound good, that's for sure, but that's the advantage of being as big and strong as Adam Dunn is. He gets the ball and hits it pretty well. He knows about that point that it's going foul, and they're going to have to come back. And doubtful Finley will give him that same pitch.
Modest 4-game hitting streak for the big outfielder. Vina has it. The Gold Glover tosses to Tino Martinez, and there's 2 away. So 2 ground ball outs from Finley, not unexpected. Vina continues a great tradition in the National League of outstanding Gold Glovers. The Reds, of course, own the Gold Glove slot for 3 years, with Boone and Pokey Reese winning it. Vina won it last year. He'll kill you offensively with the spunky, gritty kind of play, and defensively he fills the middle of the infield superbly. With Renteria healthy this year, and after dropping a couple of pounds in the offseason, Vina and Renteria give you great defense up the middle. You know about Tino Martinez. Gold Glove caliber all the time down at first. And now they got Scott Rowland. Tough to find a better infield anywhere in baseball than these guys. Line drive right at Vina. Boone hits one right on the button, but right at the little second baseman. Reds go 1-2-3. Here we go to the second. Vina due up again. Sea of red here at Synergy. All kinds of red. Cardinal and Cincinnati red as well. Reds win the first of two, 5-4. Here we are in the second. By the way, Houston and San Diego now tied 3-3 in the third. We'll be checking the whole scoreboard for you shortly. Here's Vina. He got the Cardinals started with a base hit to center in the first inning of the second game. A little inside 1-1. Only at Domino's can you enjoy a free order of dessert Cinesticks when you purchase 2 medium 1 topping pizzas. All for only $12.99. Delivery or pickup. Call Domino's Pizza tonight, where delivery is not extra. On the scoreboard, San Diego Houston, bottom of the third, tied at 3. Barry Bonds has hit his 36th. In the first, San Francisco leads Colorado 1-0. Cubs lead Milwaukee 4-0, top of the third. Slice to left, playing him perfectly, is done, and they finally get Vina one away. Mets lead Florida 8-0. Mo Vaughn has hit his 20th for the Mets. That game in the bottom of the 5th. Top of the 8th, Atlanta leads Pittsburgh 5-1. Matt Franco's hit his 6th. Top of the 7th, Philadelphia leads Montreal 3-2. Galarraga's hit his 7th. Fernando Tatis is 14th for Montreal, and Glanville has hit his 5th. Hey, if the Phillies win today, they're back to 500. What a rebound for them. From the cellar all the way to just about second place in the National League East. Big showdown at Fenway Park. Yankees are leading it in the 6th inning. Yankees 4, Boston nothing. Detroit leads Cleveland 8-5, top of the 8th. Pena's hit his 14th for Detroit. Toronto leads the White Sox 4-2, top of the 5th. Shannon Stewart has hit his 8th for Toronto. The bottom of the 4th, Oakland leads Kansas City 2-0. Seattle leads Minnesota 2-1, bottom of 4. Mike Bordick is homered as Baltimore leads Texas 3-0, bottom of 4. Everything else later on. That's your scoreboard update. Thanks to Daddy Wags. 2 balls, 1 strike to Edgar Renteria. Boone has it. Over to Casey. 2 away here in the top of 2. Edmonds walked on a 3-2 pitch in the first after fouling off 4 pitches from Elmer DeSantis. Pujols followed with a single to make it 2-0 as 2 runners scored, and then Rowland ripped the 3-run home run. 5-0 is your score. Doubleheader baseball tonight here at Synergy. First and seemingly only one of this 2002 season. Cardinals have another doubleheader this weekend when they go to Chicago. They're scheduled for 2 against the Cubs.
That doubleheader will be one of those day-night varieties with several hours in between so that the Cubs can collect 2 separate gates. That's the game, of course, that was made up after the death of Darryl Kyle in Chicago.
This is the game made up after a lengthy rain delay when the Cardinals were in last time. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Changing speeds right there. Elmer descends with the changeup up the last pitch, and then, or the previous to last pitch, and then this last one added a little bit in there, and that was a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. Comes out of the same delivery. Nice fluid motion for Descends.
One and 2 to Edmonds. And we'll go even 2-2.
You know, Elmer can do the same thing for his ball club that Jason Cimentaci did for the Cardinals in the first game by staying tough, hanging in there, pitching it one pitch at a time, and trying to keep your team in the ball game and saving the bullpen a little bit. Maybe you can score a few runs off Finley.
Second straight at bat. Edmonds will go full 3-2 against Elmer. On this doubleheader night, what a better way to celebrate a doubleheader than a baby born between games of the doubleheader. Our congratulations to Josie Matthew Butcher, 9 pounds 15 ounces at Bethesda North. Parents Jeff and Angie Knuckles Butcher. Congratulations to the Butcher family. Another Reds baby. Edmonds skies at the center. Griffey back edge of the warning track. He'll have room. Boy, this hit a ton in the air, but just about straight up. So Edmonds flies out. It's a 1-2-3 for Elmer. The Reds need to do some business. They trail by 5. Griffey goes to the bat rack. Edmonds goes back to center. Synergy Field in Cincinnati. Reds baseball on Fox Sports Net is being brought to you tonight by Domino's. Call Domino's tonight where delivery is not extra and ask for their free Cinestick special. By McCluskey Chevrolet, home of the guaranteed credit approval. And by WCPO TV. 9 News is on your side. Chuck Finley staked to a big-time 5-run lead in the first. He leads at 5-0. We go to the bottom of 2. Griffey, Mateo, and Casey due up. Reds making a roster move just prior to the game, putting Austin Kearns on the disabled list with his pulled left hamstring suffered during the first game, and announcing that free agent acquisition Jose Guillen, who was picked up and has been down at Louisville, had been called up. At Louisville, he hit .310, couple of homers, 8 runs knocked in. With Arizona this year, he hit .229 in 54 games and had 4 homers. He has arrived at the ballpark, so Guillen is available for the Reds.
Well, in addition to being with Arizona, Guillen has also been with the Colorado Rockies, so here's a guy that's been released twice in the same year. He was asked for his release in Colorado, and the Rockies made a number of trades that brought new outfielders in. Among those, Jay Payton, and realized he wasn't going to get any playing time and said, "Get me out of here." And they did.
And they did.
Be careful what you ask for.
Sometimes be careful. That's right. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Junior. That's a foul ball down the first base line. Guillen, of course, prior to that, National League fans saw him when he was in Pittsburgh. And again, he's one of those guys that a few years ago, when the Pirates and Reds had talked trade, his name was bannered about between the 2 teams. Never did make it to Cincinnati. Now he has. 2-2 down and away to Griffey. Junior in his career 12 for 70 and 2 homers against Chuck Finley. That's a 171 average. Of course, Finley spent a good chunk of his time in the American League where Junior was in Seattle. The job in the road gets tougher for the Reds without Austin Kearns. Kearns has been the Reds' most consistent offensive performer of late. Popped up in the infield. Matheny taking charge, calling. 1 away. Hey, Bethesda North Hospital presents Senior Citizen Day at the ballpark on Thursday. Reds and the Cardinals will go at it at 12:35. Senior Reds fans won't want to miss this fantastic ticket deal. All fans 60 and older may purchase half-price tickets in advance of game day. So get your tickets today to see the Reds take on the Cards. Senior Citizen Day, Thursday, thanks to Bethesda North Hospital. Here's Ruben Mateo. Casey will follow. Finley at his time in Texas, 3 for 5 against Ruben Mateo. When Mateo was at Texas and Finley was in Cleveland. Rubin gets the start today in right field. 245, a homer, and 4 knocked in for Rubin. Mile-an-hour fastball on the inside corner. Strikeout number 1, and it's looking for Chuck Finley.
Nice easy motion by Finley. He's got a little bit of a comeback action on that, so he can do that to right-handers. Come in, look like it's going to bust in on your hands, and then come back and nip the inside corner.
2,576 strikeouts for Chuck Finley. That's 21st all time. You know, little by little, Chris, he continues to climb the ladder. He's 3 wins away from 200. Those are pretty big numbers. 2,500 strikeouts, 200 wins.
You know, and he hasn't just all done it with natural talent. He is one of the hardest working pitchers in the offseason and between starts that you will find. He has set the standard of early on, got a personal trainer that he would work with even the day after his starts, and just make sure that he would come to spring training strong. He's had some injuries and setbacks. The most recent one that he had some neck problems in Cleveland. Put on the disabled list with a sprained neck, and really did not pitch to his ability this year. Only won 4 games of his 18 starts, but this guy down the stretch is a very fine pitcher.
Big number 31 delivers to Casey. And Casey retired. Finley gets 2 strikeouts in the inning. Reds 6 up, 6 down through 2. We'll be back with more after this.
Copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Cincinnati Reds and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds and Fox Sports Net.
Elmer gave up 4 hits, 5 runs in the first, had a 1-2-3 second. Here we go to the third. Albert Pujols singled in 2 in the first inning, up for the second time. The Reds just left Houston, where Lance Berkman continued toward Cincinnati pitching. He leads the National League in runs batted in at the start of play tonight with 106. Albert is now in second place. 3 more runs batted in tonight, now 102 on the season. There's some fine young sluggers emerging in the National League. Berkman, Pujols. Pat Burrell, of course, has had a real breakout year this year, over 30 home runs now and heading towards over 100 runs batted in. And of course, Adam Dunn for the Reds here, but some very fine young players with great offensive capabilities. Pujols had the ability this year to short circuit that sophomore jinx. Just when it looked like he was heading south, got a hold of his season and has made a big time run here in the second half. Pujols nicked at first by Barry Larkin. Larkin came up with the play of the day in game 1. In the hole, a diving stab and turn in one motion throw to first, nipping the very speedy J.D. Drew. Got a standing ovation from the fans here in Cincinnati. Defense, game 1. Austin Kearns, great running catch, doubled off Bina. That's a double play. And in the 7th inning, Aaron Boone starts one of 3 double plays that he started against Scott Rowland. And here is the play by Larkin.
This was to start the 9th inning. The important out right there, the first out of the inning. Boy, that was as good a play as Larkin has made in a long time.
And almost on cue, there's a ground ball to Boone across to Casey. And Scott Rowland's been playing ping pong with Aaron Boone all night, with the exception of the ball he drilled out of the ballpark last time up for a 3-run homer and a 5-0 lead. 2 away here in the third. Reds baseball brought to you by your local Chrysler and Jeep dealers. Talking to Scott Rowland before the game tonight. Happy to be in St. Louis, and he said, you know, it's not just about baseball, it's about lifestyle and family. You know, he's from the Midwest, has a lot of family and friends and relatives in Louisville. He had the day off. He drove to Louisville yesterday, stayed there, and then hopped in the car, came here for the ball game. He said, you can't do that where I was, and it really leads you to believe that as things begin to unfold, hopefully we don't have a work stoppage, but as things begin to unfold, he'll wind up signing, most likely in St. Louis, and staying in the Midwest.
You think Walt Jocketty and the rest of the Cardinals are looking for maybe a hometown discount for Scott Rowland? I mean, after all, in the open market, if the luxury tax and whatever potential drag on salaries doesn't really affect it all that much, he could make quite a bit of money here in the free agent market. I mean, he's one of the few guys out there that is a legitimate superstar.
You know, but you hear people say it all the time, it's not about the money, and Chris, you and I both know him. And he turned down guaranteed dollars from Philadelphia. His first decision, he knows he's going to make money, but his first decision will be lifestyle. I really believe it in his case. I think he'll end up somewhere in the Midwest, whether it's St. Louis or not, I don't know, but I think he'll end up somewhere where he's close to family, close to friends. He's going to make a good chunk of money no matter what.
The school systems are good over there.
Thank you, Mike Hampton. 1, 2, 3 for Elmer. Here's Jason LaRue to face Finley. LaRue, Castro, and Elmer descends. 6 up, 6 down thus far for the Reds against Chuck Finley. Rowland has it. Bullet across the infield to Tino Martinez, and there's one away here in the bottom of 3.
Well, when he's going good, he'll get a lot of those ground balls, and as you said, George, this is one of the best defensive infields in the National League, if not all of major leagues. And you got Rowland down there, who's a Gold Glover, Edgar Renteria, who can pick it with anybody, and you got Chuck Finley, who's throwing that sinker, that slider, that split finger fastball, and everything that he throws goes down, and it's very tough to elevate the ball against this guy.
And the added dimension to Chuck Finley is most guys in the National League haven't seen him either. So you get him for the stretch run when people may see him once or twice, but no more than that. So just when you figure you got him figured out, you don't see him anymore. Right back to Rowland. He'll make you play ping pong with the third baseman, won't he? 5-3. They shop till you drop at the Reds merchandise tent sale from September the 12th through the 15th. You can find great Reds merchandise at unbelievable prices. Head to the Synergy Field Plaza near gates 3 and 4 and save big on hats, golf shirts, t-shirts, jerseys, and more. Take advantage of great deals on all Reds gear, including kids, women's, and men's sizes. Sale starts at noon on September 12 and 13 and 9 a.m. on September 14 and 15. Stop by at lunchtime or game time to stock up and save during the Reds Cup Series. And of course, we all have our fingers crossed that there is a Reds Cup Series. No word as yet tonight on the nature of negotiations, and I don't know, over judging from past years, in my mind, that's good news. When you don't hear something as you get to crunch time, it usually means that both sides have agreed to keep their mouths shut and that something might still be working. And realistically, Chris, I think what we found in years past, by the day before the work stoppage is scheduled, you really need to have something going, because by the time you get to Thursday, swing and a miss, Elmer's retired. By the time you get to Thursday, the wheels are in motion for a stoppage. So hopefully something will come tomorrow. Tonight, Finley zip, zip, zip. 9 up, 9 down. He leads at 5-0. Back to Synergy Field. Here's Kerry Robinson to lead it off as we go to the 4th. Elmer's had 6 up, 6 down for the last 2 innings. But that came after big damage done in the first. 4 hits, a walk, 5 runs. The big hits, and Albert Pujols, bases loaded single that plated 2, and a 3-run home run from Scott Rowland. Here's the speedy outfielder for the Cardinals, Kerry Robinson. High chopper. Castro in the middle of hop, still able to throw out Robinson. Almost caught in between, but the quick hand's able to get the speedy outfielder at first. 1 away. 4 straight ground balls from Elmer, and after that rocky first inning, Chris, looks like he's got to work it.
Yeah, you take the edge off a little bit. 2 things happen. One, with 5-run outbursts in the first inning, the Cardinals have the offensive edge taken off a little bit. Maybe subconsciously they just let down a little bit. The killer instinct isn't the same after you score a big number like that. And on the other hand, Elmer's pitches maybe moving a little bit more, maybe a little more sync now that he's kind of gotten into the groove and found his rhythm. Really doesn't take many mistakes to put you down by 5 in the first, especially when you're talking about pitching to a lineup that includes guys like Pujols and Scott Rowland and Jim Edmonds. They can put a hurting on you in a hurry.
There's Matheny, single to left, his first time up. Still see as you watch Elmer deal from the mound, that right leg still taped as a precautionary measure as he bounces back from the groin pull. It's one of those things you got to keep a close eye on from here on out. Matheny takes a walk. 1 out, 1 on, and here comes Finley, the pitcher. Time for your Aflac trivia question tonight. Who's the only Cardinals pitcher to throw a no-hitter against the Cincinnati Reds? The only Cardinal pitcher to throw a no-hitter against the Reds. Answer coming up for you. Cardinals have had some big-time pitchers over the years. This, of course, a year when St. Louis baseball celebrates the election and induction of Ozzie Smith to the Hall of Fame. Finley gets the bunt down, bobbled, but picked up in time finally by Elmer, and they get the out. So a successful sacrifice from Finley. Elmer almost had it squirt out of his hand, but he gets the out.
Pretty good form out here by the former American leaguer. Gets it down nicely, and Elmer DeSenz has an easy play if he keeps his eye on it, but he just pulls his head up a little too soon, bobbles it a little bit, and then has to rush the throw, but still gets his man.
Insurance run scoring position now for the Cardinals with 2 away, and here comes Vina, 1 for 2. There's Tony Perez's son Eduardo on the bench giving a high five to Finley after the successful sacrifice. Eduardo, one of the bench players, and a very effective one at that. Youngest son, Victor, of course, the other. And Eduardo and his wife Mirva have set up shop in St. Louis. She's going to law school in St. Louis at Washington University.
Bigger news than that, George.
Yep.
They're going to be parents.
And you know the baby will come out smiling.
You better believe it. Probably talking too.
Yep. And hitting. Here's the 1 ball. Vina bounces it back to Elmer. Well, the last one was right over his head. It was a Pujols one that got through and knocked in a run. This time he short circuits the Cardinal rally. Barry Larkin due up, and we return. 9 up, 9 down for the Reds. Here's Barry Larkin. Takes a strike. Larkin bounced to third his first time up. Did pretty good, but Pujols playing him almost perfectly has it, and there's 1 away here in the 4th. Well, Larkin retired. He'll hop the fence. And he welcomes Jose Guillen. Ian not only has entered the stadium, but he also has his uniform on now, and Barry Larkin gives him a hi, hello, and a welcome. So he is ready if needed, Chris. It's our first indication that he's here.
We heard he was here.
Here's Adam Dunn, bounced to second his first time up. Jose has been around. First time wearing a red uniform here at Synergy. Still only 26 years of age, but he's made the rounds. Adam bounced to second his first time up. One half of the dynamic duo is going to be sidelined for a while if he joined us late. Austin Kearns, Adam Dunn's close friend and compatriot, pulled a hamstring, left hamstring, trying to beat out an infield hit. Placed on the disabled list. Not really sure how long he'll be out, but in all probability it'll be at least the length of time surrounding the 2 weeks on the DL. And they'll readjust and monitor him as he goes. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Adam. High in the air to short center field. Here comes Edmonds. 2 away. Time for our Aflac trivia answer. Who's the only Cardinals pitcher to throw a no-hitter against the Reds? There have been some big-time Cardinals pitchers. The Dean brothers. Well, the only one to beat the Reds, go back to 41. August the 30th of 1941. Lon Warneke no-hit the Reds on that date. Think of no-hit pitchers, Chris, and you think of the Cardinals, you think of the Deans, you think of Bob Gibson, Bob Porsche. He had a couple. Bud Smith, of course, last year, and Jimenez a couple of years ago. You think of Cardinal red baseball. If you're a Cincinnati fan, probably more than anything, you think of Tom Seaver. The only no-hitter he threw in his career was against the Cardinals. Still remember the sight of Danny Dreesen hugging him at first base. All those years in a Mets uniform, never a no-hitter. Had to come to Cincinnati in 1978 to get his no-no. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Happy birthday, speaking of big dates. Buddy Bell, born this day in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 1951. Buddy now with the Cleveland Indians organization. Happy birthday, buddy. Speaking of families with baseball ties, the Bells, the Boones. In fact, Bob Boone had a chance to go down and see Aaron's brother Matt. Go up to see Aaron's brother Matt in Dayton this week for the off day yesterday. He and Tim Foley went to see the game there. Tim's son Dan, a pitcher on the opposing team to Matt, who of course now is in the Reds organization. Matt has a 9-game hitting streak. Nice touch. They allowed the 2 of them to exchange lineup cards before the game. Slap foul and out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
It was a pretty well pitched game by Danny Foley. He went, what, 6 innings. He gave up only a couple of runs. The only runs that he gave up was a 2-run home run that Matt hit. So Tim Foley's son Danny, I think that's the Detroit Tigers farm team, if I'm not mistaken.
Aaron skies it into short center. Renteria out under it. Got it. That'll do it. How about this? 4 innings. 12 up, 12 down. 5-0 St. Louis. Well, no matter how you spell it, it's in control for Chuck Finley. No runs, no hits, no errors for Cincinnati. All 5 of the St. Louis runs crossing the plate in the first inning. And here we go to the top of 5. Edgar Renteria Edmonds and Pujols due up 2, 3, and 4 for St. Louis. And we talk about the prospects for MVP for Albert Pujols, Jim Edmonds a couple of years ago, but this guy, you talk about what he's done for this ball club. He's played brilliant shortstop. You see his offensive numbers, playing more or less pain-free this year. Bullet to right field. There's a base hit. Edgar's on. Leadoff hitter on here in the 5th. Don't forget, more Reds baseball will be coming your way tonight. The doubleheader, and we'll be back on the air tomorrow night. Real Reds at 6:30. The game will follow at 7. Sean Estes goes for Cincinnati. Garrett Stevenson off the disabled list. First of 2 off the DL appearances for St. Louis. On Thursday, Woody Williams comes off the DL. He'll face Jimmy Haynes. So Reds baseball all season long, including tomorrow right here. Here's Edmonds, walked, fly ball to center. Elmer's been pretty judicious with his pitches since the first, but the first got him in a real trouble, Chris.
Yeah, got him loose, I guess, too. It also maybe got the arms tired of the St. Louis Cardinals because they haven't done much against him since. That's the fastball that we're talking about right there that Elmer DeSenz has been able to perfect over the last couple of years. One, he starts inside the left-handers, and then it comes back up over the dish. Started off Edmonds with a backdoor breaking ball, so he's worked both sides of the plate here with the first 2 pitches in this at bat. Pitch number 72 now for Elmer as he sees Edmonds foul that off. Elmer's a lot like most pitchers. You would rather see a hitter put the ball into play early in the count rather than have to throw 5 or 6 pitches to every guy. He's not a strikeout pitcher. He's a guy that really wants you to hit his pitch, but hit it on the ground and hit it at somebody. And that didn't start happening until the 2nd inning.
No balls, 2 strikes. Very clearly from the start of the season to now, Elmer DeSenz has been the Reds' most efficient pitcher of the season. And you begin to wonder, Chris, the Reds, you know, they've talked contract over the last 2 years, still no long-term deal, and they talked contract with Aaron Boone last year, no long-term deal. They did sign Sean Casey to a multi-year deal. Barry Larkin, Ken Griffey Jr. both signed to long-term deals. Larkin's last year will be next year on his deal, the 3-year deal. But can you afford to let a guy like this get away with the lack of pitching that the Reds have? High in the air to right. Mateo back to the warning track. Does he have room? He does. Tagging is Renteria. The throw will be right on the line. What a throw by Mateo. That's the kind of throw and the kind of arm that had scouts drooling as he rocketed through the minor leagues in the Texas organization. This is right on the money to second base.
Well, on the Reds roster right now, the Reds have some of the finest arms in the National League in right field. Of course, I'm including Austin Kearns. We've seen him throw. Mateo has a great reputation for a good arm, and Jose Guillen has a tremendous arm also from right field.
So there's your first out, one on, and here's Pujols. Bruce Chen is up and loosening in the bullpen for the Cincinnati Reds as we're approaching the 80 pitch mark.
That's a good point you make about Elmer DeSenz, George. There was a time, that it was last year about this time, that the Reds probably could have retained the services of Elmer DeSenz extremely inexpensively, comparatively speaking. We're talking about $1 million a year on a long-term kind of a contract, and the Reds weren't able to do that at the time, and I think Elmer's price has gone up drastically since then. just on the basis of what starting pitchers in the major leagues average. And if you can get one for $1 million a year, I mean, especially the one to quality like the Sens, you're gonna have something there. You're gonna end up paying 3 or 4 times that now.
One strike to Pujols, singled in 2, and he grounded to short, 1 for 2.
But it's a difficult decision to make for any ball club, but even more so for a middle to small market club, because if you make the wrong decision and sign a guy that is not all that much of a contributor to a long-term deal, not only do you have an albatross on your hands, but you also have stymied the progress of maybe some good minor leaguers up through the system. So if you've got a guy that's playing a certain position and he's through a long-term deal, what does that message does that send to your minor leaguers that are maybe on the verge of moving up a step or 2?
Boone, can he get one? Yes, he does. The throw on to first, not in time. Amazingly, Castro got it off. Well, 2 fine plays. Boone battling the lights and the ball. Gets the out at second, and then somehow Castro, fading away from the bag, flips sidearm to first.
Aaron Boone has put some pretty good glove work together on the evening. The double play not going to happen on that one. It wasn't hit hard enough, but you get the lead runner and keep the force in play.
2 away, runner at first is Pujols, and here comes Roland. Call the home of the guaranteed credit approval, McCluskey Chevrolet. Always the one number to call, 513-761-1111. Tonight, homered his first time up, a 3-run shot, his 21st of the year, and then bounced to 3rd in the first game. He was 1 for 5, a homer, his 20th of the year. That was the good news. He bounced into 3 double plays. That'll get away from LaRue. The throw to second won't be in time. So Pujols goes into scoring position.
Well, it'll probably go down as a wild pitch, but certainly a ball that could have been blocked and just gets through to Jason. He already made one very fine play earlier where he went down to block a breaking ball in the dirt like that. That time, as you see, he just simply didn't get his glove down in time, and there was daylight between his glove and the dirt, and that's where the ball went.
There wasn't daylight, too much of it, between his throw and the head of Andy Fletcher, though. Fletcher was trying to get out of the way, and the ball zipped right past his ear. So Pujols sitting at second with 2 outs. That'll reach the seats.
You know, it's funny, George, you talked about the Reds and they move into the new stadium next year and they hope to have more money available for increased payroll and to do some things. And I don't know whether that means doing things in the free agent market or not. I think a lot of that money that they will free up with more attendance and more revenues next year may be eaten up by the natural increase in those player salaries that you have right now. You're going to have to pay Homer DeSenz more money than this year, and Aaron Boone and Danny Graves and so on. Be very interesting to see what all happens.
Boone has it. Roland's retired. So a leadoff hit by Renteria goes by the boards after the first inning difficulties. Elmer's settled down. The Reds need some runs. They trail 5-0.
Welcome back to Synergy Field where the Cardinals lead the Reds 5-0. Chuck Finley throwing a no-hitter as we speak right now. He has 3 strikeouts in the game tonight. He continues to move up the all-time list. He is now 3 strikeouts shy of Hall of Famer Bob Feller for 20th place and is 5 strikeouts shy of Hall of Famer Warren Spahn for 19th place. By the way, all-time active leaders are wins for active players. Clemens, Maddox, Glavine, and Johnson, the only guys with more wins than Chuck Finley, and he's thrown one hitter in his career. Gentlemen, back to you.
Ken Griffey Jr. skies one to left field. Under it is Pujols. He gets the first out of the 5th inning. 13 straight retired by Finley. And here comes Ruben Mateo. Hey, you dreamed about it your whole life. Now here's your chance to play big league baseball. If you're over 30, ready to leave the cares of the world behind, Reds Baseball Heaven is just for you. February 2 through the 9th, 2003. Live a dream of a lifetime. Call 1-800-755-REDS. That's 1-800-755-7337. Mateo struck out looking his first time up. Locked up, right side. Tino giving chase. He's got room. 2 away.
Well, Chuck Finley certainly on top of his game tonight, George, and he is doing it with a variety of different pitches, all placed very nicely. He's got his good action working, but one thing that he does, and we've talked about it with certain other pitchers before, he bends the rules a little bit when it comes to his placement of his foot on the mound. Normally, and what the rule book states is that your entire foot has to be in contact with the rubber. When you, first of all, when you take your sign and your full wind up, he's not doing it there, and he's not doing it as he makes his pivot. So technically speaking, Finley is pitching illegally out there, but of course it would take a complaint from the Reds for the umpire to go out and rectify the situation. Take another look at it. Here's the whole motion for Finley as he never really does get into a legal pitching position. Now, I know that I'm splitting hairs right here, and it's not because the guy's throwing a no-no. I just thought I'd bring you a little bit up to date as to what the interpretation of the rules are.
Of course, you never did that when you pitched.
Never tried to get the edge unless I could do it.
And nobody noticed. He's one of the few left-handers who will work from the third base side of the rubber against left-handers. But he's got such a big sweeping motion. Still effective.
Yeah, you know what else he does? He's a big guy, of course, and he also steps across his body quite a bit. I mean, he's way over on the third base side of the rubber right there. But when he steps, he doesn't step straight towards the catcher. He's a little bit across his body, as you see right there. And it gives those left-handers kind of a crossfire.
He's got the Reds befuddled through 5 innings, 15 up, 15 down. Number 31's in big-time control here at Synergy. Time for your Ohio Lottery winning numbers tonight. Pick 3, 620-620. Pick 4, 1007, 1007. Buckeye 5, 4, 9, 13, 34, 37. 4, 9, 13, 34, 37. Hope you had a winner tonight in the Ohio Lottery.
Our new pitcher for the Reds is Elmer Descends will be out of the ball game after he went 5 innings of 6-hit, 5-run baseball. All the damage that he gave up to the Cardinals occurred in the first inning when they scored that big 5 spot. He'll give way to the left-hander Bruce Chen. The numbers you see on Chen are for the entire season. He's been very good, however, since getting out of the Reds bullpen. In his 26 relief appearances, Chen has been 2.5 earned run average, so about half of what it has been overall on the season.
Tino drills it to right. Mateo just about in his tracks. Lifts his glove hand up and snares it. Frozen for a moment. Recovered enough to get the glove hand up, and there's 1 away. Tino's retired 0 for 3. Numbers for Elmer: 5 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs. He struck out 1. He walked 2. The first walk issued did score in the first inning. Of the 6 hits he allowed, 4 of them came in the first inning when all 5 runs scored for the St. Louis Cardinals. Here's Kerry Robinson, bounced to second twice. Bits and pieces of news and information if you're just joining us tonight. First game of the doubleheader. Reds won it 5-4. That's the good news. The bad news in the ball game: Austin Kearns pulled his left hamstring, put on the disabled list. Jose Guillen called up from AAA, and he is with the ball club and available here in the second game of the doubleheader.
Satisfy your appetite with the quick, great taste of JTM's delicious sandwich kits. Choose from beef Philly cheesesteaks, chicken Philly cheesesteaks, or the JTM original steak hoagie kit.
There's Mike Matheny, the catcher. Been on base twice, singled to left in the first and walked in the fourth. Astros have bounced back to tie San Diego 4-4. They're in the 6th inning in Houston. Inside to Matheny for ball 1. Game 3 of the series tomorrow. Sean Estes against Garrett Stevenson. We're on the air with Real Red 6:30. Game at 7. Thursday day game, Jimmy Haynes against Woody Williams. Friday we're on the air Ryan Dempster against Jamie Wright as Milwaukee comes to town. Then after the weekend series with Milwaukee, Reds head to St. Louis. They'll be on the air for a day game from St. Louis on Monday. We just left Houston with Brad Ausmus. So much a critical part of the Houston Astro pitching perspective, and he's having a great offensive year. Same thing can be said for Matheny running this defense for St. Louis. Hit pretty good right center. That's going to be thumped off the wall. Matheny will pull into second with a 2-base hit. That went about 385 feet to right center field.
Centered it very nicely, did Matheny. Look how he stays back on that. His head doesn't move forward at all. He just keeps his axis back over his back leg and just puts a lot of snap and explodes through the ball as he swings. He is one of the best at running a pitching staff. And not just throwing runners out either, as far as setting up hitters, giving a pitcher a good target. I just really enjoy watching him work behind the plate.
Don't you think Finley enjoys throwing to him too? Here's Finley, struck out, sacrificed. Joey Hamilton up and loosening in the bullpen for Cincinnati. Bruce Chen due up third when we hit the 6th inning. Bottom of 6 for Cincinnati. Cardinals have been in first place for 70 days now. The Reds, of course, were by their lonesome in first place for 51 days, 57 days all told, either tied or in first. Cardinals have passed Cincinnati in that respect, and right now they're 6.5 games ahead of Cincinnati. 3-0. Right down the middle for a strike. Two. Well, in the development of a pitcher, this has been a year where Bruce Chen has found a niche in the Cincinnati bullpen. Important year of development for him. He allows a double but gets out of the inning. Reds go to work, heading to the bottom of 6. LaRue will lead it off. Cincinnati still looking for its first hit. Cincinnati Reds baseball on Fox Sports Net is being brought to you by your Greater Cincinnati Ford dealers. By JTM Food Group. Satisfy your appetite with a brand you can count on, JTM. By Geico Direct, the sensible alternative. By Corona Beer. Relax and enjoy an ice cold Corona Extra. And by Hyundai. Test drive the cars with America's best warranty at your Cincinnati area Hyundai dealer. Big number 31, the man of the hour tonight. He's turned the Reds on their ears thus far. Here's Jason LaRue up for the 2nd time. He bounced to third his first time up. 2 ground balls and a line drive out in the first. 2 strikeouts and a pop-up in the 2nd. 2 ground balls and a strikeout in the 3rd inning for Cincinnati. 3 fly balls in the 4th. 2 fly balls and a strikeout in the 5th. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike to LaRue here. Jason trying to collect himself. In a hole 1 and 2. last. Strikeout number 5 for Chuck Finley. First out here of the 6th. Well, if Finley doesn't do anything else for the St. Louis Cardinals, and if you talk to Andy Bennis, he'll acknowledge it. He certainly has helped Bennis in his comeback. Andy, of course, earlier this year was on his way out in St. Louis. It looked as if for a period of time he might even retire. Bennis went down, rehabbed his knee after having continuing troubles with that knee, and then bounced back, and he's been a very effective starter for the Cardinals. And he credits Finley working with him, showing him how he throws his split finger, which is almost like a circle change split finger. And that's what you just saw right there, that had LaRue corkscrewing himself into the ground. And Bennis has used it very effectively. Here's Castro, bounced to third his first time up. Brannon's moved into the on-deck circle with the pitcher spot due up next. There's a base hit for Castro. First hit for the Reds, and that gets the fans on their feet.
Probably gets a big cheer here at Synergy Field, as this is the first knock off of Chuck Finley as we are into the 6th inning. So 5 innings and a third of no-hit baseball for Finley come to an end, and that is our Ohio Lottery instant replay.
So Castro gets the first hit for the Reds. It comes with 1 out here in the 6th. Chris, you know, you look at Chuck Finley, and it's a lot like hitting against Kenny Rogers. You got to make him throw strikes, because all night long he's right around your knees and below.
You're right, George. He has a 2-to-1 strikeout ratio, but mainly because he strikes out an awful lot of hitters. Had 140 or so strikeouts coming into this ball game. I think 139. So you add to that, but he also had 65 base on ball. So he's a guy that can be erratic. And if you get him into those situations where he begins to get a little bit wild, that's when you can put some base runners on and do some damage. Well, we're going to get a look at the new guy.
Well, Brannon was in the on-deck circle. They sit him down, and now with a runner on, Jose Guillen will make his first at-bat for the Reds. With Arizona 229, 4 homers, 15 knocked in. With the Reds at Louisville, 310, 2 homers, and 8 knocked in. Missing, down and away for ball 1. He joined us late. Reds placed Austin Kearns on the 15-day disabled list after he pulled his left hamstring in game 1 of the doubleheader. And they recalled Jose Guillen from Louisville. Louisville scheduled to play Toledo. He made it to the ballpark in time for game 2. That's a bullet, but right at Vigna. They'll get one at second, on to first. Vigna playing him perfectly, and they turn it into an inning-ending double play. So the Gold Glover starts the double play that ends the inning for the Reds. Still 5-0 St. Louis. Well, the Reds have played 1,700 of these, over 1,700 doubleheaders, and every time you think of a double dip, our Geico Direct moment points to the great shortstop and then first baseman of the Chicago Cubs, Ernie Banks, and his great quote, "It's a great day for a ball game. Let's play 2." Did he originate that, or did Rich Cope originate that?
I don't know, but it's a good idea to do, especially it was today. The rain held off for the most part, and the weather was something that the Reds people here in the stadium were worried about, but it didn't hinder the 19,570 that have shown up tonight. And Joey Hamilton, pitcher number 3, taking over for Bruce Chen.
Here's Fernando Vigna in the leadoff spot. Vigna 1 for 3, a single, and he scored in the first. The numbers on Joey, his 25th game, the ERA under 6 now at 5.6. A lot of hits, 114 in his 98 innings of work. He's shown some flashes of brilliance out of the bullpen, some also flashes of inconsistency, but little by little, as he's relied upon his good stuff, he's become an integral part of the middle end of this Reds bullpen. Vigna to left. Dunn under it. Got it in just one way. Stop by your friendly Dodge dealer. Check out the new Dodge SXTs and grab life by the horns. That'll bring up Edgar Renteria, 2 for 3, a double and a single. The double came in the first. He later scored on a base hit by Albert Pujols. Home runs for the Cardinals today. Roland had one here in the first inning of game 2, a 3-run shot. Pujols also had a 2-run scoring single with the bases loaded. In game 1, Pujols and Roland went back-to-back with homers. So Pujols now with 30 homers and 102 runs batted in. Roland with 21 homers. And he's now within 11 runs batted in of the 100 mark. For Cincinnati in game 1 of the doubleheader, the Reds put 5 runs on the board in the second. Kelly Stinnett knocked in 2 with a single. Casey knocked in a run. And Todd Walker knocked in a run. That's all the Reds needed in that inning. They held on for a 5-4 victory. Here, the Cardinals put all their runs on the board in the first. They're 5 runs. And so far, those 5 are holding up 5-0, top of inning number 7. High hopper Larkin, do or die, charges. He got him. Good. With Renteria running, he knew he couldn't hold back. Charge, scoops, throws, and Renteria is retired. Highlight play of the night came from the Reds captain in the 9th inning of game 1 of the double play. Brilliant play in the hole to nip J.D. Drew at first. Got a standing ovation from the fans here. I mean, you talk to Barry Larkin and he'll admit, no, I'm not the player that I was 5 or 6 years ago. But I'm trying to do what I can to help this ball club. And since the 1st of July, he's not made an error. He's gone almost 2 full months without making a miscue. He currently leads National League shortstops in fielding percentage.
Yeah, that's an amazing feat by itself, George, but given the fact that he has had some physical problems over the last couple of months that really he hasn't made very much of, one of which is that sore neck that has kept him out of the lineup from time to time. But you know, even when he's played, it's bothered him also. So you know, he's not operating at 100%.
Edmonds loops one into right center. That's a base hit. Griffey will backhand it. Edmonds will hold at first. So a 2-out base hit for Jim Edmonds. 2 out, 1 on, and that'll bring Pujols back to the plate. Griffey playing both ends of the double header. When the day started, he said that was his goal. Said Bob Boone would evaluate him at the end of game 1. Of course, that was further complicated by the fact Austin Kearns went out with his pulled hamstring. Must be something in the water here.
They were busy evaluating Austin, didn't have a chance to evaluate Junior.
Man, hamstring central.
Need some new rubber bands.
You're sitting at home saying, how long will Austin Kearns be out? That's the big question mark. Dr. Timothy Kremchek told us between games that there was no doubt that it was a pretty good hamstring pull.
I mean, if it is as severe as initially indicated, and the Reds happen to drop out of the race in September, I mean, why would you even?
No chance, right?
Why would you even want to do it?
Yep.
So that he could post some numbers for Rookie of the Year? In the long run, that honor would pale by comparison to what he could do for this franchise as a stud in the lineup for the years and years to come.
The one thing that the Reds have learned this year, and over the years you learn, is a hamstring injury takes a long time to fully heal. I mean, I remember Reggie Jackson telling me after he pulled his prior to the World Series, it took him over 2 years before his hamstring ever felt 100% again. Hal Morris said the same thing when he pulled his here a couple of years. And what have we seen with Ken Griffey Jr. too? It's a very complex muscle, a large muscle, and you can heal the outside, but if you don't heal it all the way to the core, there's a real good chance you're going to pull it again, and you're right back where you started from, and the next time it's worse. When you're 22 years old and have the future that Austin Kearns has, you don't take any chances. Especially, obviously, if the Reds were to stay 6, 7, 8 games out. 3 balls, 1 strike to Albert Pujols.
watch Albert Pujols in the batter's box. There are not a whole lot of hitters that hold the bat as upright as he does. You have to be tremendously strong in the wrists and forearms to be able to start it like that. But what he does is a lot of what almost everybody else does. He finally gets into that ready hitting position as that ball is en route. When that pitcher gets his arm up, his hands go back into a hitting spot and he's ready to go.
Edmonds going. That's bounced into center field. Edmonds will cruise into third. And he'll hold there. First and third. Pujols another base hit. Albert today 2 for 4 in the second game. And he kind of inched his way into first. Let's take a look and see if we can see anything. Yeah, right, like a little giddy up as he got to first base. Like his third step. Boom, right here. Dave McKay asked him when he got there, "You okay?" And he says, "I am," so he's staying in. First and third, 2 outs. And here's Rolen. He slaps it foul and out of play. Two singles to center. It's first and third for St. Louis. Rolen homered his first time up, bounced to third his last 2 times up. That's a strike, says Darryl Cousins. 0-2. Thought it was high. Well, the Cardinals still have the lead 5-0. Scott will argue won't do him any good. Larkin due up. Reds trail by 5. Hey, you can make Sean Casey go quack. That's right. It's Mountain Dew Celebriduck Night on Saturday, August 31st at 7:10. First 10,000 fans 16 and under get a free rubber ducky of the mighty Sean Casey. This awesome new toy looks like a rubber duck, but with Sean Casey's uniform and face, kids won't want to miss this great giveaway. Come see the Reds Brewers August 31st and go home and have some fun in the tub with the Sean Casey Celebriduck, courtesy of Mountain Dew. Here's Barry Larkin to lead it off as we head to the bottom of 7. Reds running out of time. Barry tonight bounced to third, fly to left. The Reds do have a hit, Juan Castro's base hit, but he was erased on a double play, so Larkin leads off for the 3rd time. Finley has faced the minimum number of batters through 6 innings, 18 batters. Strikes to the captain. Adam Dunn on deck for Cincinnati, and Aaron Boone to follow. Here comes Rolen. Got him. Larkin retired for the 3rd time, and here's Dunn 0 for 2. Our Chrysler game summary: all the St. Louis runs scored in the first off Elmer descends. Base hit by Vigna, double by Renteria, a walk to Edmonds loaded the bases. Pujols singled in 2. Rolen then hit a 3-run homer. That's the ball game right now. Juan Castro broke up the perfect game in the 6th with a base hit. Finley, brilliant. 6 innings, 1 hit, no walks, 5 punch-outs. That's how you pitch a baseball game, Chris.
Get ahead. He threw a lot of strikes. Of course, that 5-run outburst the Cardinals had in the first inning gave him a little bit of a cushion. It took some of the little ball away from the Reds, but the Reds still haven't been able to muster anything against this big lefty.
That's where he likes to stay, right about knee level, and then let it drop out of the strike zone. This game kind of reminds you, Chris, of a day when Finley pitched for the Cleveland Indians up at Jacobs Field, and he was brilliant. Went 7 innings, left the ball game, and then the Reds rallied in the 8th and 9th inning to win a ball game. They could not touch Finley at all on that day, and the Reds did business against the bullpen. You wonder, his pitch count has been down here, how long they will allow him to continue. Right now, you hope you get to the bullpen.
Well, he's fallen behind both hitters in this inning, behind Larkin before he got Larkin on that grounder, and now he's 3-1 to Adam Dunn. So not much to detract from his performance tonight, to be sure. Those are little things right there. You fall behind a couple of batters in the 7th inning, big deal.
High in the air to center field. There goes Edmonds to the warning track, to the wall. He got it. About 385 feet away. Dunn hit it a ton. It came about 2 feet shy of hitting the wall, and Edmonds did a brilliant job of getting to it.
That ball was hit and crushed, but it was way up in the air. A lot of hang time right there, and Jim Edmonds, regardless of how shallow he plays, and he does play a little deeper against Adam Dunn, has some time to get under it. That's about a 1/4 of an inch difference right there between that ball staying in the ballpark and going over the black monster out there, and probably to the tune of about 480 feet.
Hit so high in the air, it gave Edmonds a chance to get back there. Boone slaps one to the right side, heading to the seats. It'll be out of play. Reds baseball brought to you tonight by your local Chrysler and Jeep dealers. Great to have you with us. Adam Dunn 0 for 3 tonight. 0 for is the word for the Reds. Top of the order to the bottom on this night. The only base hit came off the bat of Juan Castro. On the air tomorrow, Real Red 6:30. The game at 7. Sean Estes against Garrett Stevenson.
You know, George, interesting comments before the game tonight by Bob Boone about his offense and how it has been sputtering. But he kind of said, well, you know, the Reds have faced an awful lot of good pitching lately. They faced, you know, Kurt Schilling, they faced Randy Johnson, they faced the 2 big boys from Houston, and so on and so forth. And you know, I guess you can group Chuck Finley in that category. Obviously, he's one of the best active pitchers going right now, but at the same time, if you're going to be a contender, you've got to figure out a way to scratch something against guys like this. I don't mean big innings, but I mean get a base runner here and there and see if you can't get a crooked number on the board.
Tino takes charge. He's got it. A pop up, a ground out, and a long fly to the wall in center. Another 1, 2, 3 for Finley. Searching for hits. The Reds bat rack has been nebulous. Back in Cincinnati, Elmer descends the story of his night tonight, Chris. 5 innings.
5 innings, but all the damage to Elmer happened in that first inning when he gave up those 5 hits and 5 runs, and they tallywhacked the ball pretty good off him in that inning, and he settled down after that, same way that Jason Simitachi settled down for the Cardinals there in the first game.
Casey calling. Hamilton points it out. Casey's got the pop up. Tino Martinez is retired. 0 for 4 is Tino tonight. After the 5 runs in that first inning for Elmer descends, he had a 1-2-3 second, a 1-2-3 third, allowed only a walk in the 4th, allowed a base hit, but that runner was stranded in the 5th inning. So after the first inning trouble for Elmer, he pitched well from there on out, coming off the disabled list. Chen went an inning. Joey Hamilton, 2nd inning of work. Tino pops out 1 away, and here's Kerry Robinson. At this moment, the Reds are 6.5 back of St. Louis. San Diego now is leading Houston 11-4 in the 7th inning. Ryan Klesko's hit his 24th. Jack Bagwell's hit his 25th for Houston. So if it stays the way it is, the end result of the day would be Houston would lose a half game to the Cardinals if the Cardinals split and Houston were to lose. And the Reds would wind up still 7.5 back where they started the day. Cubs lead Milwaukee 6-1 in the 8th. Mets lead Florida 10-3 in the bottom of the 9th. Mo Vaughn has hit his 20th. Preston Wilson has also hit his 20th for Florida. Fouled off, 2 balls, 1 strike. Atlanta 5, Pittsburgh 4. That's a final. Millwood gets the win, his 14th. Josh Fogg takes the loss. John Smoltz 46th save of the season. Matt Franco hit his 6th homer for the Braves. Philadelphia beat Montreal 4-2. Long road back, but the Phillies are now back at 500. Roa gets the win. Yoshi takes the loss. Glanville hit his 5th. For the Philadelphia Phillies, Galarraga and Tatis each homered. And a losing effort for Montreal. 3-1. Hit to right. Here comes Mateo. Got it. Robinson's retired. 2 away. Underway. Dodgers lead Arizona 1-0 in the top of the 2nd inning. 2 away for Joey Hamilton here in the 8th. That'll bring up Matheny. Base hit, walk, and double. He's been on base all 3 times. American League. The Yankees and the Red Sox battling in the East. And tonight at Fenway Park, the Yankees have won. David Wells wins it. He's 15-6. So that means that New York's lead over Boston is now 8 games. Now the Red Sox starting to zero in on the wild card as opposed to the Yankees. Detroit beat Cleveland 8-5. Redmond the winner, Phillips the loser. Acevedo's 27th save. Pena hit his 14th for Detroit. White Sox beat Toronto 8-4. Oakland over Kansas City 6-4. They're in the bottom of the 9th. David Justice has hit his 10th homer for Oakland, and Durham has hit his 11th. Minnesota leads Seattle 5-2. Bottom of the 8th. Torrey Hunter's hit his 25th. Jock Jones is 24th. Bottom of the 7th. Texas leads Baltimore 6-4. And top of the 3rd, Anaheim leads Tampa Bay 2-0. That's your scoreboard update from Daddy Wags. Mark Wagner filling us in on what's happening around the world of baseball tonight. Matheny punched out. 1, 2, 3. Reds go to work. Bottom of 8. Need to do some business. Griffey will lead it off. Ken Griffey Jr. playing not one but both ends of the doubleheader. He was 0 for 3 in a walk in the first game of the doubleheader. And here in the second game, like everybody else except Juan Castro, another 0 for. Griffey's 0 for 2, popped out, flied out. Against Chuck Finley, 0 for 2 tonight. And against Finley in his career, Griffey under 200, 12 for 72 and 2 homers. Under 170 for Junior against this left-hander. Griffey, Mateo, and Casey do up. Bouncer. He stays in front. Finley there to tap the bag, and there's 1 away. Hey, join the club at Great American Ballpark. Starting in 2003, Reds fans will be able to enjoy the luxury of club seating. These spacious padded seats offer great views of the field and the river. Amenities include in-seat wait service, an expanded menu, and private membership to Club 4192, a glass enclosed lounge open pre-game, game time, and post-game. Get your club seats now before they're going, and gone. Call Red Select at 744-2003, 744-2003. Here's Mateo, struck out looking and popped out to the first baseman. No balls, 2 strikes to Ruben. Now, Finley's been about as good as you can be tonight for the Cardinals. Just what they needed after a rough first game. Gets another strikeout. Mateo's punched out for the 2nd time. A strikeout and a 2-3 putout. 6 punch outs for Chuck Finley. He looks like you, Chris.
I had 6 punch outs. It just took me a month to accumulate them all. He keeps the ball down. It's one of these nights, and it's a rare night. I think Finley will probably tell you this after the ball game, that he, as you see, that he has moved up now, and 2,581 punch outs. That gets him 20 on the all-time strikeout list. But it's one of those rare nights when all of it's working for him. Fastball, location, breaking ball, changeup. You like those nights.
I mean, you tell your grandkids you passed Bob Feller on the all-time strikeout list. Man, that's Bob Feller.
That means you have to go to Winter Haven now every spring and do your thing.
Casey fouls it off for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Fox Sports Net welcomes our viewers watching on TV Service Incorporated in Hinman, Kentucky, and BTC Multimedia in Bascom, Ohio. Thanks for watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Net, and welcome aboard. Bouncer to short. Renteria has it. How about that? 1-2-3. Finley's been breezing. Number 31 has allowed only one hit, that is. 5-0 Cardinals lead it. Bob Boone's been on the other side of it as a catcher with a brilliant performance, and tonight the Reds fans, some 19,000, have just given Chuck Finley a rousing ovation as he comes to bat in the top of the 9th inning. Finley's been brilliant tonight. He's allowed the Reds only 1 hit, and even more impressively than that, that's not only the only hit, but the only base runner. He has not walked a batter tonight, and he has struck out 6. Juan Castro, the only base runner for Cincinnati, and here he is. He hits in the 9th inning. That's a strike. No balls and 2 strikes to Finley. He struck out his first time up, sacrificed successfully in the 4th, and struck out in the 6th. Big swing. Finley's retired. 1 away here in the top of the 9th. Joey Hamilton working on his 3rd inning of work. He gave out 2 hits in the 7th, had a 1-2-3 8th, and gets the first out here in the 9th inning. Late season acquisitions, always part of the equation for any pennant contending team. The series of trades really started with Bartolo Colon going to Montreal. Colon, of course, has been brilliant for the Montreal Expos, and of all those who were traded this year, Colon is probably the gem. Whoever had gotten him, whether it be the Reds, the Cardinals, the Expos, or anybody else, he's the guy that's really been dominant. The Reds, of course, making a move.
Plus, he was young, affordable at this point, and a guy who is probably has his better years even yet to come.
Casey has it. He'll win the race to the bag, 2 away. Vigna tonight reached on a base hit his first time up. 1 for 5 for Fernando Vigna. And here comes Renteria. Reds, of course, acquiring 3 pitchers during this trading period. Brian Dempster, Brian Moeller, Sean Estes. Cardinals acquiring 2. Finley, who's on the mound tonight, and Jeff Fassero, who pitched in the first game of the doubleheader. And there were a lot of folks in line for Finley. The Indians had talked to a number of teams.
I think what separated the 2 deals, the Bartolo Colon deal and the Finley deal, is that the Cardinals didn't have to give up nearly as much to get Chuck Finley as the Expos did to get Bartolo Colon. The Expos gave up some of the best prospects in the minor league baseball.
Brandon Phillips, the shortstop, is a brilliant young shortstop. And with Phillips and McDonald, between the 2 of them, they should be able to cover second and short for a few years. Here's Renteria, doubled in the 1st and scored, bounced to 3rd, single to right, and bounced to short. Hope you join us tomorrow for game 3 of the series. Sean Estes against Garrett Stevenson. Red 6:30 game will follow at 7. Paid crowd 19,570. Fraction of those still remaining here in the 9th inning of the second game of the double dip. Kind of brought back some memories of the old days, didn't it? Today?
Yeah, it did. A lot of people around the stadium were kind of complaining about the long hours that they would have to spend here today, but I'd rather play a doubleheader at this point in the season against the Cardinals, a team that means something, than a single game against another team where the game didn't mean anything. At least in this ball game, you realize that on this day you'd have intensity, you'd have everybody fully into it, because this is a very important ball game for both ball clubs.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Popped up right side of the infield. Casey under it. Got it. Second straight 1-2-3 inning for Joey Hamilton. Hamilton pitches 3 strong innings. The only hope for the Reds now is some offense. Cincinnati trailing at 5-0. To the bottom of 9 we go. LaRue will lead it off. What would the doubleheader be without the best sports show, period? Well, we got it coming your way. Matt Williams talks some baseball in the Arizona Diamondbacks. Jake Plummer talks some Arizona NFL football. And West Wing actor Tim Matheson just stops by to talk, period. Coming up later tonight on the best sports show, period. Back at Synergy, Chuck Finley will work into the 9th, looking for a complete game. Finley been brilliant tonight. The Reds have only 1 hit that came off the bat of Juan Castro, who's due up second here in the 9th inning. Here's LaRue. Big swing and a strike. Well, everything about this night has been impressive. No runs, 1 hit. And he hasn't even hit 90 pitches yet. That's efficient every way you look at it. For his career, 197 wins, 172 losses, 3 away from 200. Pretty impressive figure. LaRue drills it, but foul down the left field line. This would be his first win ever against the Cincinnati Reds. Second complete game of this year. He pitched one against Detroit for Cleveland back in May the 22nd. Last shutout for Finley was 5-0 against Tampa Bay on the 17th of April of 1998, and he's got one working right now. 3-2. Reds fans have not had much to cheer about in the second game of this doubleheader, so just a 3-2 count gets them up and clapping tonight.
That's considered a rally at this point.
And a base runner, second base runner of the ball game. The hit by Castro in the 6th. This leadoff walk in the 9th. There is no one working in the bullpen for St. Louis as we start the 9th inning. Castro to the plate, bounced to third and hit a well-stroked single to center. There was no doubt about the base hit. In other words, it wasn't a fluke hit. If you weren't here with us earlier, it was a line drive just to the shortstop side of the pitcher Finley. So 1 on, no one out in the 9th. And here's Castro up again. Pop foul and out of play for strike 1. Elmer descends off the disabled list. Started for Cincinnati. 5 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs. Struck out 1 and walked 2. All 5 of those Cardinal runs scored in the first. After that, he settled down to pitch well for the next 4 innings. Too little, too late, though. And the Reds have been unable to muster any offense against this left-hander. Just about a year ago at Philadelphia, Randy Wolf spun a brilliant one-hitter against the Reds in Philadelphia. Tap foul again, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Finley was 4-11 with Cleveland in an ERA of about 4.5. With the Cardinals, he's 4-3 in an ERA under 4. He's pitched better here in the National League than he did in the American League, but as we talked about earlier, a lot of it is a lack of familiarity with this big left-hander.
I think a couple of things come into factor. Number one, he's healthy, probably feeling better now physically. Number two, he's playing with a ball club that has something to play for. And the energy in a clubhouse of a team that is going somewhere as opposed to that is going nowhere is like night and day. And for a guy like Finley, that may mean all the difference in the world.
The 6'6" left-hander to the stretch with 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Castro just misses another one, 2-2. Bob Boone talked about it before the doubleheader tonight. He was hoping to load up his second game lineup with every right-hander he could find. One of his right-handers taken away from him. Austin Kearns, his hottest hitting right-hander. Bounced off the plate. No one will have a play. Castro has his second hit. How about Juan Castro? So it's first and second, still no one out, and this one gets a little interesting, and Tony La Russa will get somebody up in the bullpen.
So I guess it's safe to say that Juan Castro owns Chuck Finley.
He'll take it.
At least tonight. Second hit of the night. The first one was a sharply hit line drive that goes for a knock. This one, a swinging bunt that dies right at the cup.
Now out comes pitching coach Dave Duncan to talk to his left-hander and see how much he's got left in the tank. He's got to buy some time in any event as they start to loosen in the bullpen. Jose Cardinal, first base coach for the Reds, talking to Castro as Duncan comes out to talk to Matheny and Finley. Pitcher's spot due up, and Kelly Stinnett will pinch hit. Well, they bought about as much time as they could. Looks like Dave Veer's getting up in the bullpen. We can barely see into that corner. Well, stranger things have happened, but the Reds have been completely whitewashed by Finley all night. They're trying to get something cooking here in the ninth. Here's Stinnett. 46th at bat of the year. Kelly started the first game of the doubleheader. Big swing for a strike. He was 1 for 4. A base hit in the first inning that knocked in the go-ahead run. And it's Isringhausen who's gotten up and started to loosen. So the big closer starting to loosen for the Cardinals. Shows bunt down and away, 1-1. Stinnett batting for Joey Hamilton here in the ninth.
Something magical and mystical about the ninth inning, and even for a veteran pitcher like Chuck Finley, it's not as easy as going out there and zipping them down 1, 2, 3 as it is during the middle innings. That's why closers make the big bucks.
2-1. And Matheny pumps his hand in the air to Finley. It's 3 balls, 1 strike. Now still some life in this crowd, hoping that there's life in the Reds' bats. 3-1. Hop back and out of play. We'll do it again. 3-2. Bob Boone accomplished his first goal of the night, winning the first game to move to within 6.5. He'd love a comeback here to move to within 5.5 of the Cardinals. Hop back, that'll be out of play also. Down and in, gets out number 1 in the 9th. Kelly Stinnett punched out.
Nice location right there. We talked about the downward plane when we spoke with Chuck Finley in the scouting report, and that ball really did that. He uses his big frame out there coming from a high 3/4, and that ball just had a good downward plane all the way. And when you put it down and into a right-hander, even if Stinnett hits that ball, likely to go foul.
So still 2 on, 1 out now, and here's Barry Larkin. 2 ground balls to third and a fly ball to left. 0 for 3 is Larkin. Hit pretty good to right. Back is Robinson, though. Got a beat on it. He's got it. LaRue tagging now will hold. LaRue had gone halfway and never did get back in time to tag. Had he gotten back to the bag, he would have gone to third easily. Down 5 runs. He'd gone halfway hoping to score if it got behind Robinson. It did not, and there's 2 outs. Reds down to their final out, and it's Adam Dunn. It's a story of 5s on this night. Reds in the first game of the doubleheader got 5 runs early, 5 in the second, held on for a 5-4 victory. In the second game of the doubleheader, the Cardinals got 5 in the first off Elmer Descends, highlighted by a Pujols bases loaded single that plated 2 and a Scott Rowland 3-run home run that made it 5-0. And that's the whole scoring on this second game of the night. The Cardinals #1 starter going on the DL. Never did Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa need a big performance any more than they did tonight, and that's what Finley's been giving them. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Going to the 9th, the Reds had only 1 base runner, Castro, with his 6th inning hit, and he was erased on a double play. So those 2 runners out there are the only 2 that the Reds have had on, with the exception of Castro. A walk and a single in the inning. 2-2. Big-time fans of the big outfielder. 44 has become a very popular number here in Cincinnati. again, 3-2. 3-2, 2 outs. Runners will be off and running. LaRue walked out at second. Castro reached on an infield hit off first. That's a bouncer. Renteria, right place. He'll get the out, and that'll do it. Good positioning for Renteria. And Chuck Finley will get a big handshake for Mike Matheny. He was brilliant tonight. Big number 31, 6'6", a big-time pitcher on this night. He allowed the Reds only 2 hits, both of them by Juan Castro. And it's a split of the doubleheader. So the Reds end the night the same way they started it, 7.5 back of St. Louis. Tony La Russa keeps his lead. The Reds still struggling to get back in the race in the Central. We'll be back to talk more about it after these messages. Time for our Advance Auto Parts play of the game. Came early. Cardinals get 5 in the first. Bases loaded. Albert Pujols drills this one past Elmer Descends into center field. That gave the Cardinals a 2-0 lead. Roland followed with a 3-run homer, Chris, and that's all they needed. They win it going away 5-0. What a night for Chuck Finley.
Yeah, they really put it to Elmer Descends early in the ball game, and 1 run was all that Finley needed. In fact, he only gave up 1 hit through 8+ innings. The Reds picked up an extra hit, both of them by Juan Castro tonight. Won the infield variety. Outstanding effort by Finley. The Reds are just overdone, but you know, that's the way it goes, George. You may have seen our pregame show. Most doubleheaders end up in a split.
Reds won the first game 5-4. Cardinals win the second game 5-0 end result. Cincinnati still 7.5 back in the Central Division. For Chris Welch, our entire crew, this is George Grant. Good night, everybody. See you at the ballpark. The best sports show periods. Coming up next, we'll see you tomorrow. Real Red 6:30. The game will follow at 7.